Far away in the dark of space, a lonely signal moved through the stars. It was weak, almost broken, and most of the great powers of the galaxy ignored it. To them, it was nothing more than noise, a dying whisper from a ship that was already lost. But humans were different. On Earth's deep space listening posts, a small team picked up the signal and listened closely. The message was clear. It was a call for help. An alien vessel was stranded, and the crew was begging for rescue. No one else cared. But humanity listened. The humans remembered well how most alien empires had treated them in the past. The Council had looked down on Earth. Many alien races had turned their backs on humanity when times were hard. Some had even betrayed them. And yet, when the humans looked at the broken message, they made their choice. They would answer. It was not about politics. It was not about revenge. It was about something deeper. Humanity believed that no call for help should go unanswered. A small fleet was prepared. Not the biggest warships, but fast rescue craft and strong escorts. The mission was dangerous. The signal came from a sector close to enemy territory, a place where pirates and raiders moved freely. The commanders of Earth knew the risk, but still they sent their people. As the fleet left orbit, the crews whispered among themselves. Why rescue aliens who had once turned away from humanity? Was it worth it? Yet inside their hearts, every one of them felt the same thing. If humanity turned cold, then they would no longer be human. Days passed as the fleet crossed the silent void. The signal grew clearer, a steady cry of desperation. The stranded vessel was an old alien ship, damaged beyond repair. Its crew had no chance of survival without help. Most of the galaxy believed humans would never go. Most thought Earth would ignore the call. But as the human fleet approached, the broken ship came into view, and the aliens inside stared in disbelief. They never expected humans to come. The alien vessel was from a race that once sat proudly in the Council, a race that had voted against Earth many years ago. They had seen humanity as weak, as reckless, as dangerous. Now their ship floated in darkness, powerless, waiting for death. When the human ships arrived, their first reaction was fear. Why would humanity come? Was this rescue, or revenge? The commander of the human fleet opened a channel. His voice was calm, steady, without anger. This is Earth Command. We received your distress call. We are here to help. The aliens did not believe it at first. Surely there must be a hidden cost. Surely the humans would demand something. But when the rescue teams boarded, they found only kindness and determination. Supplies were given. Medicine was shared. Repairs began at once. Still, a shadow hung in the air. The human crews noticed something strange. The alien ship had not simply broken down. The damage was too violent, too deliberate. Holes in the hull, burns across the metal, these were signs of battle. Whoever attacked the alien ship could still be near. The humans did not speak of it aloud, but their eyes met with silent understanding. This mission was no longer only about rescue. It was about survival. Night after night, as the engineers worked, the alien crew slowly began to realize the truth. Humanity did not come for revenge. They did not come for politics. They came because that is what humans did. They answered the call, even when no one else would. And yet, in the dark corners of the alien ship, whispers grew. Some of the crew knew the real story of why they were attacked. They knew the enemy might still be watching. They knew danger was not over. On the final day of repairs, the human commander stood at the viewport, looking out into the endless black. His instincts told him something was wrong. Space was too quiet. The signal that had once echoed across the stars was now silent, but in that silence he felt a presence, something waiting just beyond sight. The aliens thought they were safe, but the humans knew better. Rescue missions were never simple. Somewhere out there, the hunters were still near, and they would not allow their prey to escape so easily. The fleet prepared to move, but tension filled every heart. The humans had come to save lives, but now they wondered, Had they walked into a trap? And so the silent signal ended, not with peace, but with a question. What danger waited in the shadows? What enemy had left the alien ship broken in space? Humanity had returned the call, but in doing so, they might have awakened something far worse. The stars remained quiet, but everyone aboard the fleet felt the same cold truth. This rescue was only the beginning. The alien crew could not believe their eyes as human ships surrounded their broken vessel. For days they had drifted in darkness, waiting for the end, thinking no one would come. They expected silence, but instead, human voices filled their comms. Calm, steady, and strangely kind. At first the aliens were afraid. They remembered the way their people had treated Earth long ago. They had called humans reckless, unworthy, even dangerous. And now those same humans had arrived in their darkest moment. Surely this could not be true rescue. Surely there must be a hidden price. But when the first human boarding teams entered the damaged ship, the aliens were shocked. The humans wore rescue suits, carrying supplies and medical kits. Their eyes were sharp, but not cruel. Their movements were careful, almost gentle. They brought food, water, and medicine without asking for anything in return. Some of the alien crew whispered among themselves. Was this real? Could it be a trick? Yet when the first injured alien was carried out on a human stretcher, treated by human doctors, the truth became harder to deny. The humans had come to help. Still, fear remained. The alien captain, old and weary, could not understand their reason. He had sat in the council chamber once, raising his hand against Earth when they had begged for fair treatment. He had voted with the others, leaving humanity alone to struggle. Why would they help him now? Why would they save those who had turned their backs on them? He asked the human commander directly. Why are you here? Why risk your lives for us? The human commander answered simply. Because you asked for help. That is enough. The words struck the alien captain harder than any weapon. In his long life, he had seen empires fall because of pride, arrogance, or betrayal. But here stood humanity, offering help without demand, without revenge, without hesitation. And yet, beneath the surface of the rescue, something darker stirred. The humans repairing the ship saw clear evidence of an attack. The damage was not from an accident. The hull bore scorch marks of heavy weapons. Sections of the ship had been sliced with precision. Whoever had done this wanted the alien crew destroyed. That enemy could still be near. Human scanners swept the area again and again, but the silence of space gave no answer. Still, the human crews remained alert. As rescue operations continued, a strange bond began to form. The aliens, once proud and distant, now looked at their rescuers with confusion and growing respect. They watched humans work together, never leaving anyone behind, never stopping even when exhausted. One alien engineer whispered to another, "They fight for us as if we are their own people." The other could only nod. On the human ships, the mood was different. Some whispered quietly, asking why they were risking so much for those who had abandoned Earth long ago. Yet when they saw the faces of the rescued, weak and afraid, they knew the answer. To be human was to help, even when no one else would. Still, unease grew. The human commander could not shake the feeling that something waited in the dark. He had seen too many battlefields, too many traps, to believe this was chance. He ordered the escorts to stay close, weapons ready. The alien captain noticed his caution. "Do you think they will return?" he asked quietly. The human commander did not answer at once. He only stared at the endless black outside the viewport, where the stars burned cold and distant. Finally, he said, "If they attacked once, they will try again. And when they come, we will be ready." The alien captain lowered his head. He did not know what to say. His people had once believed humanity weak. Now he saw them for what they truly were, unshaken, unafraid, bound by something stronger than politics or power. The rescue neared its end. Systems were patched, wounded were treated, and the alien ship began to breathe again. For the first time in many days, the crew dared to hope. But hope is fragile in the void. The humans could feel it, the way a hunter's shadow lingers even when unseen. The silence around them was not peace, it was waiting. And then it came. A faint echo on the scanners. A flicker in the dark. Not noise. Not an accident. A presence. The same enemy who had left the alien ship to die was still out there. The humans had known it in their hearts, and now the machines confirmed it. The hunters had returned. The rescue was not over. It had only just begun. The scanners of the human fleet came alive with faint signals. At first they were only whispers in the dark, small flickers that could have been debris or drifting rock. But every experienced officer knew the truth. Those were not accidents. Someone was watching. Someone was following. The enemy had returned. The alien crew, weak and shaken, did not want to believe it. They hoped the humans were wrong, that the danger had passed. But the humans had seen too many battles to be fooled. Silence in space was rarely safety. It was usually the pause before the storm. The human commander gave the order at once. Shields up. Weapons hot. Escorts move into defense formation. The alien captain, standing beside him, trembled. His people had no strength left to fight. Their ship was broken, their weapons useless. If the enemy came again, they would not survive on their own. He looked at the human commander and asked, "Why stay? You could leave us and escape with your fleet. Why risk your lives for us?" The commander's eyes did not move from the viewport. He answered with a calm voice that carried no doubt. "Because you are not alone now. We don't abandon those we came to save." The alien captain had no reply. His heart was heavy with shame, remembering how his people had abandoned Earth in the past. Yet here were humans, standing ready, prepared to fight and die for those who had once betrayed them. It was a truth too sharp to ignore. The enemy ships revealed themselves slowly, slipping out of the black like shadows given shape. Sleek, predatory designs. Their weapons glowed with the faint light of charged plasma. They outnumbered the human escorts 2-1. The alien crew recognized them at once and fear gripped every heart. These were raiders, merciless hunters who prowled the edges of the galaxy. They attacked without warning, leaving only wreckage behind. No one negotiated with them. No one survived them. The alien captain whispered in despair, "We cannot defeat them. They will tear us apart." But the human commander remained steady. "They think we will run. They think we are weak. Let them come and learn." On the human ships, every crew member moved with silent focus. Hands danced across controls, targeting systems locked on, engines adjusted for combat maneuvers. They were not the largest fleet in the galaxy. They were not the richest. But every human aboard carried the same fire. If the enemy wanted a fight, they would find it. The raiders sent a message, filled with cruel laughter and threats. They demanded the humans step aside and hand over the alien survivors. "Leave them to us," the enemy voice snarled. "Or you will share their fate." The human commander replied with only 6 words. "We don't leave people behind." The channel closed. The battle began. The raiders moved in fast, weapons blazing. Bright streams of fire cut across the dark. The human escorts shifted into tight formation, shields glowing as they absorbed the first wave. The alien crew watched in awe as humans fought with precision, every ship covering the others, every move calculated. They did not scatter in fear. They did not retreat. They stood together as one wall of steel and fire. Still, the enemy was strong. Their numbers pressed hard, forcing the humans back step by step. Explosions rattled through the shields. The alien ship shook as stray blasts tore across its damaged hull. Panic threatened to rise again, but the human commander's voice rang calm across the comms. "Hold the line. Protect the civilians." For the humans, this was more than a fight. It was a promise kept. Every time an enemy ship tried to break through, human warships blocked the way. Every time the raiders turned their weapons on the alien vessel, human cannons roared back with deadly force. The aliens could hardly believe what they saw. These humans, who owed them nothing, fought harder for their survival than their own allies ever had. Slowly, the aliens began to see a new truth. Humanity was not what the galaxy believed. They were not reckless savages. They were something far more dangerous, loyal beyond reason. The battle raged on, fire and steel tearing through the void. Human ships were damaged, but none fell. The raiders began to hesitate. They had expected easy prey, a simple kill. Instead, they faced warriors who refused to break. And though the humans were outnumbered, their spirit was unshaken. The alien captain, watching from the viewport, felt tears sting his eyes. His people had abandoned Earth once. Now Earth refused to abandon them. He whispered to himself, "What kind of species does this? What kind of people risk everything for us?" And deep inside, he already knew the answer. The kind of people who never forget. The kind of people who always return the favor. As the first raider ship exploded under a storm of human fire, the truth was clear. This was not just a rescue. This was the beginning of something far greater. Humanity had stepped into the fire, and they would not turn back. The first raider ship broke apart in fire, its wreckage spinning into the endless dark. For a brief moment, silence filled the alien vessel. They had just witnessed something no one in the galaxy had expected. Humans, outnumbered and outgunned, had drawn first blood. The alien crew could not look away. Their hearts pounded as they watched the battle unfold outside the viewport. The humans were not retreating. They were advancing. More raider ships closed in, their weapons blazing, but the human escorts met them head-on. Shields shimmered under heavy fire. Armor plates cracked. Engines screamed as the ships pushed forward, refusing to break formation. Every move was precise, every action deliberate. The alien captain whispered to himself, "They fight as if our lives are their own." He could not understand it, but he could not deny what he saw. Humanity fought with a fire unlike any other. The raiders tried to split the humans apart, swarming around them like wolves around prey. But the humans did not scatter. They held tight, each ship covering the next, moving as one living wall. Whenever an enemy tried to slip through, a human warship blocked the way. Whenever a raider turned its guns on the alien vessel, human cannons answered with deadly light. The battle became chaos. Explosions lit the darkness. Metal screamed as ships collided. Still, the humans pressed forward. On the alien vessel, fear mixed with awe. Many had believed humans were reckless, driven only by pride and anger. But now they saw the truth. Humanity's strength was not blind rage. It was loyalty. It was the refusal to abandon anyone, no matter the cost. The alien captain turned to his crew. "We cannot just sit here," he said. "If they fight for us, we must fight too." But his ship was broken, its weapons offline. All they could do was watch. Shame burned in their hearts as humans bled for them. The raiders were not fools. They realized the humans were more dangerous than expected. Their leader gave the order to focus fire. Dozens of plasma bolts hammered into a single human escort. The ship shuddered under the assault. Its shields cracked. Fire tore across its hull. For a moment it seemed doomed. But instead of fleeing, the crew kept fighting. They turned their guns on the nearest raider and unleashed one final storm of fire before their ship broke apart. The alien crew gasped in horror. A human ship had fallen, its wreckage drifting into silence. Yet even in death, it had taken an enemy with it. The human commander's voice rang out over the comms, steady and strong. "They did not die in vain. Hold the line." The humans answered with fire. More raider ships burst apart under the relentless assault. But the enemy was relentless too. Reinforcements jumped into the sector, more shadows slipping from the void. The alien captain's hope began to fade. There were too many. Humanity's courage was unmatched, but courage could not stop endless waves of steel. Yet the humans refused to break. The commander gave orders with calm precision, shifting ships into new formations, turning defense into attack. They moved like a blade cutting through the storm. The alien crew stared in silence, realizing something no one in the council had ever believed. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was not reckless. They were terrifying. The way they fought, the way they endured, it shook the very core of those watching. One alien officer whispered, "If they ever turned this power against us, no empire would survive." But another answered softly, "They fight not to conquer. They fight to protect. That is what makes them strong." The battle dragged on. Hulls were torn apart, fire spread across decks, and screams echoed through comms. But slowly, the tide began to turn. One by one, the raider ships fell. Humanity's losses were heavy, but their spirit never wavered. The alien captain finally understood the truth. These humans were not fighting for politics, not for power, not even for pride. They were fighting because his crew had called for help. And once humanity answered, they would not let go. At last, the raider leader saw what was happening. His fleet, though stronger in number, was breaking under the unyielding will of the humans. He gave the order to retreat. The surviving raider ships vanished into the black, leaving wreckage behind. For the first time in days, silence returned to space. But this silence was different. It was not the silence of death. It was the silence of victory. The alien crew stood in stunned silence, unable to find words. They had been saved. Against all odds, against all logic, they had been saved. The human commander's voice broke the quiet. "Repairs will continue. Stay close. You are safe now." The alien captain bowed his head, tears burning in his eyes. In that moment he knew a truth his people had ignored for too long. Humanity was not the weak race the council had once dismissed. They were something far greater. And for the first time, the aliens felt not just gratitude, but respect. Yet even as relief washed over them, the human commander's eyes stayed fixed on the dark beyond the stars. He knew this was not the end. The raiders had been driven off, but not destroyed. And humanity's choice to fight for the aliens had painted a target on Earth itself. The first battle together was over. But the real war was only beginning. The battlefield was silent now, filled only with drifting wreckage and the fading heat of explosions. Human and alien ships floated together in the aftermath, scarred but alive. The aliens could hardly believe what had happened. Against overwhelming odds, the humans had stood their ground and driven the raiders away. But victory had not come without cost. Several human ships were gone, their crews lost forever in the cold void. For the alien survivors, it was a heavy truth to bear. They had lived because humans had chosen to bleed for them. On the human flagship, the commander stood tall, though exhaustion lined his face. Reports streamed in, damage assessments, casualty counts, resource shortages. His people were tired, but their spirits remained unbroken. Yet as he looked out at the stars, his instincts told him the fight was not finished. Raiders never accepted defeat so easily. They would return, and when they did, they would bring more than just hunting ships. The alien captain approached him, his voice heavy with guilt. "Your people have lost so much for us," he said quietly. "Why do you continue? Why not leave us to our fate?" The human commander turned, his eyes steady, his tone sharp as steel. "Because that is not who we are. You called for help. We answered. We will not stop until you are safe." The alien captain lowered his head, unable to speak. He remembered the votes cast against Earth long ago, the cold betrayal when his people turned their backs on humanity. And yet here stood humanity, unbroken, still willing to fight for them. The shame in his chest burned like fire. As repairs continued, human crews and alien survivors began working side by side. Broken systems were patched, engines brought back online, and power slowly restored. For the first time, the alien crew felt something they had never expected: trust. They trusted the humans to keep them alive. They trusted the humans to stand where no one else would. But the silence of space did not last. Hours later, the scanners lit up again. This time, the signals were heavier, stronger, and far more dangerous. A second raider fleet was arriving. These were not scouts or raiding parties. These were warships. The humans had been right. The enemy had only retreated to call for reinforcements. Now they had returned in force. The alien crew fell into despair. Their damaged ship could not endure another battle. Even with the human escorts, the odds were hopeless. The alien captain whispered, "This time, they will destroy us all." But the human commander did not waver. "No," he said firmly. "This time, they will learn what it means to face humanity." Orders rang across the human fleet. Damaged ships pulled into tighter formation. Weapons charged. Shield generators groaned to life. Every crew member knew the truth. This fight could be their last. And yet not a single human turned away. The raider fleet arrived in a storm of fire. Plasma bursts lit the void, hammering against human shields. The humans answered at once, their cannons roaring, missiles streaking into the dark. Explosions shook the sector as the battle began anew. The aliens watched in silence, their fear mixing with awe. Even battered and outnumbered, the humans fought with a fury that seemed endless. But the enemy had the advantage. Their numbers were greater, their weapons heavier, their tactics ruthless. Slowly, the humans began to bend under the weight of the assault. One escort fell, then another. Explosions tore through decks, alarms blared across comms, and screams filled the channels. The alien captain gripped the rail of the command deck, his heart sinking. "They cannot win," he whispered. "Not like this." Yet the humans did not break. Even as ships burned and shields collapsed, they fought harder, each loss only fueling their resolve. Still, the commander knew they were at the edge. If nothing changed, the fleet would fall. And so he gave the order no one expected. "Prepare the weapon," he said. His officers froze for a moment, then obeyed. Deep within the human flagship, a hidden system powered on, a weapon never before revealed to the galaxy. Energy built slowly, pulsing through the ship's core, rising to a level the aliens could hardly comprehend. The alien captain's eyes widened. "What is that?" he asked in shock. The commander's reply was cold and simple. "Our answer to those who think humanity is weak." As the weapon charged, the raiders pressed harder, sensing victory. They did not know what waited for them. Then, in a single flash of blinding light, the weapon fired. A wave of raw energy tore across the void, ripping through enemy ships as if they were paper. Hulls shattered, engines died, fleets broke apart in an instant. The raiders had no defense. In moments, half their force was gone, consumed by the storm of human power. Silence followed, broken only by the screams of retreat from the surviving raider ships. They fled into the black, leaving wreckage behind, too broken to fight any longer. The aliens stood in stunned silence. They had never seen such power, never imagined humanity carried such a weapon. Fear and awe filled their hearts. The human commander looked at them, his voice steady. "This is why we fight. Not to conquer. Not to destroy. But to protect. Remember that." The alien captain lowered his head, his voice trembling. "I will remember. My people will remember. Humanity is not what we thought you were. You are far more." The humans had turned the tide. The rescue mission had become a war, and the galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. The battle was over. Space lay quiet again, broken only by drifting wreckage and the faint glow of ruined ships. The raiders had been crushed, their fleet scattered, their power broken. For the aliens, survival felt unreal. Just days ago they had been stranded, waiting for death. Now they were alive, rescued by the very species they had once abandoned. On the human flagship, the commander stood at the viewport, his gaze fixed on the stars. His fleet was battered, scarred, but unbroken. They had stood against impossible odds and prevailed. Around him, Officers reported damage and casualties. Voices were heavy with grief for the ships and lives lost. Yet there was also pride, a quiet strength that filled the air. They had done what no one expected. They had saved not only themselves but also those who had once been their enemies. The alien captain approached slowly, his head bowed. His people stood behind him, silent and shaken. When he finally spoke, his voice trembled with a mixture of shame and gratitude. "I cannot understand," he said softly. "Why would you do this? We betrayed you once. We turned our backs on Earth when you needed us. Why risk so much now? Why bleed for us?" The human commander turned to face him, his expression calm but unyielding. "Because once, long ago, one of your ships saved one of ours," he said. "It was a small act. Many forgot it. But humanity never forgets. You showed us mercy once. Today, we return the favor." The alien captain's breath caught. He remembered. Long ago, during a minor skirmish, one of his patrols had rescued a damaged human vessel. It had seemed unimportant at the time, a small kindness in a galaxy filled with cruelty. He had not even thought of it since. But the humans had remembered. They had carried that memory for years, and now, when the tables had turned, they had answered with fire and steel. The alien crew fell silent, overwhelmed by the weight of that truth. Humanity's loyalty was not measured in days or years. It stretched across generations. When they gave their word, they kept it. When they were shown kindness, they returned it 100-fold. The alien captain lowered himself to one knee, a gesture of respect rarely given outside his own people. "We owe you our lives," he said. "We owe you more than we can repay. From this day, my people will never see Earth as weak again. You are not the race we once mocked. You are the shield we did not deserve." The humans did not answer with triumph. There was no arrogance, no gloating in their faces. Only quiet resolve. They had not fought for glory. They had not fought for revenge. They had fought because it was the right thing to do. Still, word of the battle would spread. Across the galaxy, whispers would grow louder. Empires would learn that humanity, once dismissed as reckless and fragile, had stood against impossible odds and triumphed. They would learn that humans never forgot kindness, and never abandoned those who asked for help. And they would learn that when humanity chose to fight, they were unstoppable. On the journey back, the alien crew worked side by side with human engineers, repairing systems, tending to the wounded, and honoring the dead. Bonds were formed in the fires of battle, bonds that could not be broken. Trust grew where once there had been only doubt. When the alien captain looked at the human commander, he no longer saw a reckless outsider. He saw an ally. He saw a protector. He saw something his people had never understood, what it truly meant to be human. As the fleets prepared to part ways, the alien captain made a vow. "We will not forget this. We will carry your name to every world we touch. We will tell them what you did here, how you stood for us when no one else would. Humanity will never stand alone again." The human commander gave only a small nod. "Then make sure they remember the truth," he said. "Not that we destroyed our enemies, but that we saved our friends." The alien captain's heart swelled with emotion. For the first time in many years, he felt hope for the galaxy. Perhaps, with humanity leading by example, things could change. Perhaps mercy and loyalty could be stronger than fear and betrayal. As the fleets drifted apart, the stars shone cold and eternal, but something new had been born among them. A bond between species, sealed in blood and fire, but strengthened by compassion. The silent signal that had once been a cry for help had become the spark of a new future. Humanity had answered when no one else would. Humanity had returned the favor. And the galaxy would never forget.